Welcome back to another episode of Inner Power Insights, where we delve into the transformative journeys of individuals who have redefined their paths in life. Today, we're thrilled to feature Maitland Ward, an actress and author best known for her role as Rachel McGuire on the beloved TV series Boy Meets World. Maitland's career has taken her from the bright lights of Hollywood, including her memorable role in the film White Chicks, to a bold and empowering transition into the adult entertainment industry. Her latest book, My Escape from Hollywood, explores her personal journey of self-discovery and breaking free from conventional expectations. Join us as Maitland shares her insights on embracing change, pursuing passion, and crafting a life true to oneself. Get ready to be inspired by Maitland Ward's remarkable story.
Welcome to Inner Power Podcast.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here.
Oh my God, like I've been following you and I following your work, and you're such an inspiring person. You're award-winning adult film star, you're an actress and you're a model. You have done a lot of things when it comes to your career, and have been successful at each and every one of them. So that's very admiring.
Oh. It's wild looking back on, my career, and I did this especially when I was writing my book and everything. Just to see like the trajectory of my career and like certain spots. And I have done a lot of stuff, and it's amazing. I've been very fortunate to be a part of starting out like very iconic shows and film, like as a part of like The Bold and the Beautiful was like the number one or number two. So it was the number two show in the world next to Baywatch back in the day when I was on.
Yes, yes.
But then, of course, Boy Meets World, that's an iconic show. And then White Chicks is an iconic movie that just is like a cult classic. And then, of course, now like my segue into the adult film industry. And so, yeah, it's been a wild ride, but it's been a process. It's been so long now. So it was like a slow process along the way. It's not like I just jumped into anything.
I mean,
but it was a build to things, I guess.
yeah, I mean, Disney alone itself, you were like started with that, so that's a
Yeah.
huge thing. So, what inspired you to move from acting to adult film industry?
It was such a long like process, like I was saying, and basically, I've been a young actress, teen actress to college age actress, very like on these shows that are like known, and of course with Boy Meets World, I got very known as Rachel McGuire, my character, and I was very typecast in that role, that just kind of good girl, sexy. I mean, Rachel was sexy on the show. She was definitely the sexual butt of the jokes on a lot of the episodes, but in a Disney way. But I wasn't allowed to break out of that character or those characters and that persona. And I really, as I started, growing up and maturing and finding myself, I like wanted to play more daring roles. I wanted to play more seductive. It wasn't porn that I was thinking of at the time or anything like that. It was more just like daring and dramatic. And I just want to do different things in my career, and I wasn't allowed to do that. So I got frustrated with like the audition process. I did a bunch of pilots and small films and things where I was trying to break out, but it was just still so difficult. So ended up getting married, and I moved to New York, and I kind of got away from the whole Hollywood scene for a while. And that was really a time of self-discovery. And although that was a while before I started doing like professional porn, or even I started first doing my own content. And I know you said you have a Patreon page. I was on Patreon. I was the number one adult creator on Patreon overnight when I started dabbling in content. Of course, I wasn't doing full porn then. Well, Patreon back.
Right.
But no, but I kind of signed up for it to do more like adult, like pictures and setups and stuff, like Playboy-esque type kind of art pieces and things. And so it was really that slow journey of like, okay, I got away and I kind of discovered myself. I got really into like writing, and I found myself into erotic writing. and then screenwriting. And I really wanted to write roles for myself. I went to UCLA for screenwriting, and I found myself always writing this role of this like woman who's been wronged by people or forces, and she comes back and strong, and she has this sexual prowess about her, this bad girl kind of, you know, attitude that helps her surge forward. And I think that was really my psyche coming through, saying that's what I wanted to do. And I really think when I had the opportunity to go forward and do that in porn, that's what I did. Like I
Mhm.
my harnessed my sexuality and my newly discovered at that time, like, of being an exhibitionist, sort of. That's I found it, like, before I not too long before well, some years, but not that long before I started doing professional porn. I, I was on Instagram when it was just really becoming very popular, and I would put up a lot of like sexy pictures because it was fun for me. I love cosplay, and I did a ton of that. And I got a lot of attention from that. And that was, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that to be a career road that I would take. And that kind of launched everything into a snowball rolling to to my future career and my future self. So yeah, it wasn't one decision. It was just like little decisions along the way. Like, let's try this. I want to do this. I want to go further. And it was fun because with the Patreon and stuff, when I started out doing just because I started out because I was getting kicked off of social media a lot, like pictures and stuff taken down, not because I was showing stuff, but it was like the insinuation that you
Mhm.
might, like, it was too sexy, and they were very strict about that. And my fans were like, you should start doing content. And I didn't know anything about content. This was back in 2018 and the beginning of it. And I was like, okay, I can just do it. And like I said, I became immediately the #1 adult creator. And it was kind of like, what? Like, I can't believe, like, my fans really are excited about this and want to see my stuff. And then so I was taking my fans on this journey along the way. And it led to like all of this.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I know that you started with the social media because I saw one of your interview that they were saying that social media back in the days when it came out, it was like kind of like everybody had to watch themselves and their kids and everything. Oh my God, you can be on social media, you have to watch. But for some people like yourself, worked very well, even though it was a little bit restricted that you couldn't. I mean, for God's sake, things that they put now is like, come on, you stopped me back then for just like taking a picture.
I know, it was really, and they were yeah, it was like we were in the Wild West. Like, nobody knew exactly what the rules were. People were getting kicked off all the time. And it's still true for porn stars that they have a lot of scrutiny from social media, especially now TikTok. That's really like,
Yeah.
I feel like Instagram has a handle on things more, knock on wood. But
And
um
Twitter. Twitter
and
is actually,
Twitter you can do, yeah, Twitter is like an adult film star's
yeah,
playground because you can put anything basically up, and then you just have to put the warning that it's adult content or whatever.
that,
And but you're
yeah.
so that's, but yeah, but back then I was, but it also allowed me to create content. If I could have just put anything I wanted up, and and it wouldn't have like put me on this journey, I don't believe.
I was
So
gonna say that for you, worked out in a such a
yeah.
positive way that you started not only that you were just trying to discover yourself, but got you to this journey of actually, I know what I want now. What makes me feel good
Right.
about myself? How do I want to feel? And a little bit of that with people
Mhm.
support around you got you where you are now.
Right. And it was good in the beginning too, when I was doing my content. I could do it with more of a select group, like my fans who were paying money, who wanted to see my stuff and wanted to be on this journey with me. I could do it kind of in private. Like, it
Mhm.
wasn't out there for all the public to see yet. And I really was getting my feet, wet with all of that, and deciding like what I wanted to do. So that provided such a great platform to explore myself and really discover like who I was and what I wanted to do.
Right, right. So how do you overcome the criticism and stay motivated and bubbly and happy that you are?
I've been very fortunate that I haven't had a ton of criticism. Really, when I really came out and I did my first full length like feature porn film, and Rachel from Boy Meets World was going to porn. The headlines read, I beat Bernie Sanders' heart attack the day that the Google announcement came out on Google trending. And I was surprised, and others around me, both in mainstream and porn, were surprised how much positive press I got. And I don't mean positive in the way we're like, great. Well, some of it was like, cool, Maitland, go. That's amazing. But of course, they're going to have headlines that are shocking and everything, but nobody was tearing me down. Nobody was really like, you know, criticizing me. It was more like just the shock value of the story. And I think it has to do too with I don't feed it into any shame or guilt or that familiar stereotype that a porn star should be like in hiding or in shame. I was out there and happy, and I think people saw that, and it was just a good feeling and a good story. And so I really haven't had to have a lot of criticism. Do I have people who are like, well, you know, what's this, and they hate porn and stuff? Sure, but I'm just like, how can you go against someone and criticize someone if they're happy and they love it and they're just having the time of their lives and they're having success with it? I mean, you can't really, I mean, if you keep criticizing someone who's just happy, you seem crazy yourself. Like it's on you if you're the one who's not happy in your situation.
Right, right. No, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because now in today's society, we coming back and we talk about spirituality, we talk about mindset, we talk about positive thinking, we talk about energy, we talk about that, what you feel, that's what you project out there, and people feel your energy around you.
Sure.
So I feel like for you, by just thinking that within yourself, it's kind of like, you're having fun, you're loving it, and that's how people felt your energy, not just your
Yeah.
exterior appearance. Because I mean, we see a lot of people on the internet that they get bombarded with a lot of negative stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
But you're such a positive person, so I feel like your mindset has always been like that. You never expected it, so that's why you never got it.
Yeah, you really hit the nail on the head with that. I really feel like that. And I always try to be positive, and I do believe in that positive energy, and what you put out there, you get back. And it's just it's really authentic for me because I am having so much fun, and I am having success, and I am, just positive about the whole experience. I think a lot of people tend to, especially on the internet with trolls and everything, if there is a troll, they feed into that, and then that you give that troll or that negative energy attention, and then it just manifests from there. Because I've seen like
Mm.
especially just porn creators and stuff who will go back at fans or like and then I'm just not into that. If there is a troll, I just ignore them pretty much, unless they're being like threatening or anything. But I just ignore it, and I just feed into all the positive feedback, and I really try to just like harness that and push that instead of giving any attention to the trolls and the negativity.
It's actually a very profound, like you said, with your career, that as extreme as I could go. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, but for average people to go out there and your mindset shift can make that, and that's
Mhm.
example for everyone that is listening right now, that how effective it is to change your mind and look at the world the way you look at yourself,
Yeah.
and surprisingly, a change to your benefit is so
Right.
empowering.
And I think, yeah, and I think people look at my story, and at first they look at it and they're like, oh my God, I could never relate to somebody who went into porn. It's just such a taboo thing, and it's so like other than what I do. But I think my story relates to everybody from any job, any career path, any life path where, you've been told at one point you can't do something, or you're not happy in some situation, and you just have to shake it up and use your positive energy and your positive force and stuff, and create something on your own. And you can do that. Do not listen to what others are saying, because most, if they're naysayers, they're really just trying to hold you back and down for some reason. And
Absolutely.
I've been told so many times before I started in my content journey in porn that, you cannot be sexy. Nobody over the age of 25 is sexy on TV. They'd hire somebody if they wanted somebody sexy, they would hire somebody 25. And people would give this advice to me like they were being kind and like, telling me
Mm,
the truth. And I never believed that. And it's just hilarious that I did like built my whole audience on sexiness and sexual provocativeness and all of that. But I think also along the way is my sexual content, although I do play very dark, twisted characters sometime, which I love. And people, I think have the misconception that porn is just these silly little videos they see on Pornhub, when I actually have 3-page monologues and feature films that, I've
mhm,
helped to create and stuff. So it's like a lengthy thing. But I do think people like the fact that I've authentically explored my own sexuality and my own person in my porn journey. And I have, really just explored myself, and they've seen that authentic fun that I have with it. And that's
right,
fun to be a part of. And
right, right. So how has your career change influenced your sense of your identity, because you played so many characters from a childhood, from Disney starting and then being on the other show and playing those characters and then finally coming to the character that you wanted? How has that affected you and how do you see it?
well, it's amazing now that I get to really have control over the characters that I play. And
Okay.
of course, I loved playing the characters I did back then, but I always equate it to like it's like being in like high school or college, and you loved those days and you had fun and you had good times, bad times, whatever, but you love the memories. But I don't want to live in that for the rest of my life. And that's the only thing that I do and am known for. And I think Hollywood really tries to keep you in that box. And it's sort of like this coffin that they put you in.
Mhm.
They want you to always be that character because it benefits them in that space. And so I feel now that I really get to, branch out and empower myself. And it's funny that I've actually gotten more respect from people in mainstream Hollywood because of what I've done, even though they told me I couldn't do it and they didn't want to see me and like anything else. But now they're like, oh, okay, we'll take a
Mm,
second look at her, a second talk, or really, give her a level of respect. So I have actually felt that more respect, which people wouldn't expect from being in porn.
mm. So what do you think the biggest misconception when it comes to adult industry?
I think people have this like very old misconception that you go on a porn set and it's like some sleazy old guy watching an orgy filled with drugged up people, and it's all just wild and crazy, and it's not. I mean, the amount of controls and consent that goes into making a porn project is unbelievable. Because first of all, just the testing alone for STIs and everything, every 2 weeks you have to test. You have to, sign paperwork on every scene that you do or every project, just lengthy stuff with your IDs and like just proving who you are and giving your consent. Before scenes, you have to talk about everything and like what you want, what you don't, what are your yes, no's, and what are your yeses and stuff. So I think there's a lot of thought and a process that goes into the scene. It's not just nobody's allowed to be on drugs on the set, like to any level, but like that would be people, it wouldn't fly because people will get in a lot of trouble for that. So I think people, have that old Boogie Nights idea that that's what the sets are like. And that it's not like a normal place. And I think it is absolutely like any other office space, especially like any other set. Like I kind of equate it to like an independent movie set because it's not quite as, large as a major film set, of course, but definitely, a substantial independent film set. And the only thing is different is like we're having sex, but also like, people walk around naked and they're, you're having lunch with the guy's dick out and like, but you know what? You get so used to that. And also I remember, younger, whenever I do anything modeling wise, like at first it was so weird to me how like girls would just like take off their clothes in the backstage, and it was just people were naked and like it was not even a thought. And then after a while you get so used to that, it's kind of like this. It's like it's not like it's just regular. It doesn't even feel like something taboo anymore. It's just the way that the job is. But I think people would be surprised how the sets run, that they're very very much like, a job and an office, and it's a lot of fun though.
Yeah, they don't see the behind the scene what's going on. And I think
Yeah.
one of the other misconception that I feel like people have about adult film stars, like they're just grow up in a traumatized family, or they were
Yes.
like, they were like their childhood was bad, or like they grew up poor, or they're doing it for fast money,
Yeah.
things like that, because they feel like, oh, if you're a porn star, you're just doing it for the money because that's how you make money. And it is assumingly that you don't have any other talent or you didn't want to be anything, which is so wrong. That I
Yeah.
have spoke with so many of them, has so many degrees and been to college and
Yeah.
finished the college and done everything. And as yourself, like you said, you went to so many shows, you were like started in such a young age. And no, that's not the case.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I came from, a cookie cutter, childhood growing up, very, upper middle class, background. And I was very sheltered as a child. I did not, I just had a very like innocent childhood, and I didn't feel as I was growing up that I could, explore my sexuality and stuff and things that I thought like I wanted, like I wasn't able to do that till later, just because I did not grow up in a traumatized household. I just grew up in a very like straight-laced kind of
Right.
household. So, and I was a very good girl, and the fact I was very good in school, I was very responsible, and I was very, just I wanted to please my family and the community and the church and like things. So I definitely like played that role, and that played a big part in my early life, just like always playing a role for other people. And then and now I get to like just play the roles for myself. But yeah, there's such a stigma, like they have to find a reason, like the naysayers, like why would she go into porn? She's desperate for the money. It's like, or she's like, why wouldn't I want to do something where I can have my own business and my own brand, have a lot of fun, be able to set my limits and rules and things that I want to do, and make great money, and just have a blast, and have a whole new leg of my career.
Expressing yourself.
Expressing myself, very much so, and
I
it's
think
really,
that's the most important
yeah,
thing.
it's really given me an outlet to do that, both physically.
Especially, yeah, especially if you're coming, like you said, from a family of like you're trying to, we all have, try to do the right thing, always living
Yeah.
for other people, try to please other people. And I'm sure listeners or knows that all of us have done that. But the freedom of to find out to express yourself in any form of a career, I think
Yeah.
that itself is such an
Yes, absolutely. Whatever your form of expression is, and finding what your happiness is. And yeah, and just being truthful to yourself and your own voice.
so knowing that, I'm sure, and you said that you're married, who is your biggest supportive when it comes to your career?
Oh, my husband, I wouldn't be able to do this without him. I mean, I would be able to do this without him, but I was married. And so to go into it, I probably, if I didn't have a supportive spouse, I probably wouldn't have gone this way. But he saw in me that I really needed to take this path of exploration and self-exploration. And especially since I had, when I was younger, hidden from my sexuality and my expression of that and who I really was. And I just, he's very supportive of and proud in my career. I mean, he's always the one beaming, like when I win an award or anything. I mean, he doesn't come to the sets or anything, but he was very instrumental early on in like my Patreon stuff, because we were, just shooting on my phone and getting, photos done. And so it was much more like, although I had a great professional photographer who I've worked with since my cosplay days, who also was a part of it all, it was much like we were just very, just shooting, get everything. It wasn't a professional environment, but that was kind of the fun of it all. But now, yeah, he's just absolutely supportive of my path and my journey. And I think that's an interesting story, because people don't think that they can, have a relationship and be married, like, and they try to, like, a lot of people try to twist it and say, oh, he must love this, he must be like turned on by this. And I think that's such a misogynistic kind of thing to say that my only way to have a sexual outlet or my journey and my authentic journey is because my husband gets off on it. And that couldn't be further from the truth, although he likes to see me hot. And I mean, but every husband, I mean, yeah.
Right, 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 right. Yeah.
But it's not about like what he gets off on or anything. And I think that's it. A lot of times women, even not in porn, like even in life, it's like all about what their husband's sexual preferences, what their husband wants from them and stuff. And I think that our story is unique in the fact that I've taken this path that is like the road less traveled by married couples, and we're going to be celebrating our 18th anniversary. So and it's
Wow.
because so many people who have had these like straight-laced marriages and everything are divorced. and their relationships fall apart, and they're just the most judgmental ones tend to like have issues, and like somebody's cheating on somebody, and and I very much equate cheating as a different thing than somebody working on in porn and like having consent and knowledge of everything. It's
Well,
not.
the great point is, like you said, I think the best relationship is that when we communicate with each other.
Mhm.
I feel like you have that with
Absolutely.
him because it's relatable. And as far as like sexuality goes, we all know all men have a desire. This is why they watch porn.
Yeah.
And that's why, I mean, almost 95% of them do. Okay.
Yeah.
But the being with somebody like yourself is, like you said, you're looking at it as a work, and it's like a job, and it's like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And for him, it's like easy to talk to you and tell you what his desires are. And you're like,
Mhm.
okay, no big deal. Which is when it comes to other people, sometimes we get like, you know, oh, I don't know, like sexuality talk, even with your own partner being married for 20 years,
Yeah.
people still have a problem talking about their
That's
sexuality.
absolutely true. That's absolutely true. And it goes into the fact where porn is still considered like taboo to people, and like men have to hide that they watch it and stuff, even though it's like a natural thing. I mean, I don't consider that a cheating thing to watch porn and just get off in the fantasy of it all. He's not gonna like I don't understand, like they really think he's gonna like hook up with me watching a video like your husband or whatever. Um
Right.
but I think people have to keep it like, oh, it's dirty and secret and guilty about it. Like there's a lot of guilt in like watching that needs to be erased. And I thought, it's really interesting. Like with the stuff I do that we have like lengthy scripts and stories with our hot sex too. I get a lot of couples coming to me, especially younger couples, older couples. I feel like people over like 40 and stuff are still a little wary generally
Hmm.
of porn, and they have this idea of this old kind of trope of what porn was. And then but people like in their 20s and 30s have just had it their whole life, and they're just not, it's not taboo to them. It's just part of their life. They love the performers. Like I'll get couples coming up to me, and like one couple said at a book signing that I did, the husband was like, I really wanted to spice up our relationship, and I wanted my wife to watch porn. And she was like, no, it's stupid. I feel dirty. I mean, I feel stupid watching it. And then he goes, well, watch this. And he showed one of my films that I made, and she loved it because it like engaged her brain, and she felt like she was invested in the story, and it was like an intelligent process. So I think women, I think that type of porn is really inviting, and for women, especially who want to, because they're turned on by their brains a lot of times, and by words, and by, you know, more of an investment and not just the visual. So I think that's really cool to ever hear like couples and stuff who their relationship has been helped because, they're open to porn and seeing new ways of porn and everything. So, but yeah, I get one time I got like a woman, she must have been in her early 30s, just adorable woman. She had a husband, and she came up to me at a restaurant, and she said, I'm just such a big fan of your work. And I immediately thought, oh, she's a Boy Meets World fan. Okay, that's great. And then she's like, I just love what you and Caden do, who's my director. And I was like, wow, like, and her husband's like, yeah, she watches everything, and she just like, she loves this one and this one. And I was like, wow, and it was so like she was telling me she loved Boy Meets World. It was like just so not even a shy topic.
Well, like I said, for men, and the good thing that you mentioned, men can like look at it and be like, I'm hot and bothered. Let's go. Let's do this. But the woman
Yeah,
is more mental. Like we have to feel
yeah,
confident, right? We have to feel
yeah,
confident in the fact that you said that we're going around and taking off our clothes and we're just walking around.
mhm,
It takes a lot of gut for a lot of people to do that because
yes,
there's such so they criticize themselves. And it's like, I
yes,
mean, a lot of women, they're having sex. They don't want to take off their shirt or they want to do it with the light off. And
yeah,
that has nothing to do with anything else, but just to as their own confidence and seeing people like yourself, beautiful girls, and they're going out there, they're making it okay. It's okay to take off your clothes. It's okay to
yeah,
be comfortable. This is how I think for us more mental than visual. It's just that we
yes.
oh my God, this woman is like amazing. She's beautiful. She's taking off her clothes. She doesn't care. She's doing this. What if I could do that?
Yeah, no, I love that, and I absolutely that would, warm my heart that anybody would say that, like, that they saw my stuff and they got confident enough to say, "Hey, I can be sexy and I can take off my clothes and I can be a certain age and I can, be powerful in my sexuality at home." And I do think that women having, like, more mental stimulation to lead you into it really helps, and I think that's what we do focus a lot on our projects, like, to give a story and a piece where you feel invested and it's a slow burn to the hot sex. So it's not just wham bam. And I think because sometimes, especially women, I mean, it's funny looking back when I was on Boy Meets World. Funny, I wore a lot of lingerie and I was like the sexual butt of the jokes on Boy Meets World, like a lot. And looking back, I know Disney executives were like, they have some fetishes they wanted to play out with my character, but I would have to wear like a lot of lingerie and stuff, and I was just so self-conscious. It's funny that now I'm like just walk around naked and go on set, and I don't have any issues with that. Not to say that I never have any issues. I mean, I think all women
Right.
tend to have, thoughts and hangups, but I'm way more free, I mean, than I was. But at the time I wasn't like thinking about, oh, they're playing out their fetishes or they're on or using me, my sexuality back then. I was thinking, do I look bad in this? Do I look fat in this lingerie? Or are they going to
Mhm.
think I'm not sexy enough? And that
Mhm.
was the mindset. And I think that's a mindset that's for a lot of women. And then actually the guys who were getting off in their minds watching me, they probably were not thinking any of the terrible thoughts I was thinking about myself.
No,
They
no.
were
And that's
like, wow, hot girl.
yeah. That's the beauty of this whole thing, and that's why we have to have a more conversation about this.
Yeah,
And I'll take it back to the conversation we just mentioned, at the communication, because when you get married, what do we talk about? We talk about bills, we talk about responsibilities, we
sure.
talk about kids. Even if we make time for ourselves, it's still a sexuality conversation is really hard for a lot of people to have in their relationship. And
Yeah.
what a better way to start saying that, okay, let's watch it together and talk about it and see what you
Yeah.
like and what can you imagine how much cheating would be prevented?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And it's can be a bonding experience between people. And yeah, it makes the conversation so much easier because, things are brought up in the video, oh, I like that. Maybe we could try that. We could, explore it. I mean, it's not cheating. It's just fantasy. It's like you go to a movie and you watch, superheroes, or you watch like some mysteries or whatever you're watching. It's your way of your outlet. And it's very important for us to have a healthy sexual outlet and have conversation around that, or it becomes bad and it becomes dangerous, and it becomes like a lot of bad things come out of repressed sexuality. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, so I mean, we need to have these conversations, and I do think porn can aid a couple, and like, if they can, benefit from it, and they can just see like, oh, I want to try this and I want to do that, and it's fun. It's fun, and it's not the taboo that other past generations were always saying that it was.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's like you said, the movies, like if we see super heroes or like movies.
Yeah,
Romantic movies, we want our partner to fantasize us like that and
yeah.
behave that way and make it romantic. So just the same thing as sexuality. And sexuality is actually the highest energy that a human being can have. They're saying that I read a
Mhm.
study on it that people that are open-minded and more open to communicating about sexuality has a higher energy versus people that don't. And people that don't really talk about it, regardless of their religion, their culture or background,
Mhm.
or however you say, are more depressed and less happy in their relationship than the one that are actually going, like you said, that
Right.
as a couple, it's like, hey, let's put it on. Let's see. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, I like that. Oh, I'm not gonna look good on that, but I can look good on this. And
Yeah,
that
right.
itself is such a fun conversation to
Yeah.
have with your partner because you can't have that conversation with anybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wonder if like sexuality was so repressed and stuff in, especially in ancient religions and cultures and stuff, because it did manifest such power in the individual and they didn't want that. Like, like
I'm
oppressive
sure.
governments and religions and stuff did not want that. So they want you to know you cannot do this, you cannot talk about this. And so because that's interesting that you talk about it being such the highest form of energy. I'm sure that all played into it.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely. They're all saying that love and sexuality is the highest. When you
mhm.
fall in love, your body releases a lot of dopamine,
Oh, right.
and as well as like when you have orgasm, and that's the second part of the energy that is you makes you actually healthy. Like a
Wow.
lot,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people, because what we need is that our hormones, that how it is. So imagine not having sex or not knowing about it, or having sex that's really not good and you don't really
Yeah.
feel good about it, then being married for 20, 30 years. Gosh, no, let's change it
Yeah.
up a little bit.
Yeah. Watch porn, you'll feel better. You'll
Just to have the communication about it, just to talk about it is fun,
Yeah,
not just
it
that.
is.
Yeah. Okay, so what is your guidance if you can offer somebody's watching right now and wanted to change a career and wanted to go to career that they wanna go? What would be your advice?
Oh, well, that's a great question because like I was saying before about how my career might not path probably isn't the choice of many people's career path. But it you can get from what I did, good advice and for what you want to do in your own career path. And I think it's about finding out who you are and what you want to be and what you want to do and harnessing that energy. And not feeding into the negativity from people who tell you you can't do something or you can't be something, that it's impossible for you. I can very much say that it is possible. It is much more than possible to do what you want and to just manifest what you want and just change the trajectory of your life. You don't have to stay in a place where you're unhappy. That just creates negativity and brings you down and actually brings all of your success down. Even if you're, in a job where you hate, you can't succeed to the level that you would want to because you don't have that positive, you know, trajectory, I guess, going forward. But if
Right.
you find what you really want to do and pursue that, it's that there's magic in that. And I really believe that just being in touch with yourself and expressing yourself. And I thought it was interesting when I wrote my book, looking back on my life, like I think everybody should do it, first of all. Everybody should write like their own memoir, their own diary, whatever, look back on experiences in their life, and years afterward you'll look at it a different way than you did then. Like you'll look at relationships different, you'll see situations and be like, I can't believe I didn't see that back then. I can't believe I was this kind of person or that. Like I said, I look back on my life wearing lingerie, and that was the thing I was concerned about, that I wasn't sexy enough in lingerie, and I was this young leggy thing, like, I like, and my young self, I'm like, please come, I want to be in that lingerie with you again. Like, but seriously, like the mindsets that we had back then or back in our past, we need to re-examine them, and it really helps you to go forward. I really believe it helps you like examine yourself and find out like who the true you is, just to
Yeah. Because
instead of
a lot of our listeners are like, an age of 30 and up. I mean, any career that they wanted to do is daring, I mean, it doesn't have to be porn, but in general, especially with today's society, if they wanted to be a model, or if they wanted to do something that involves their look or their personality, to them is very, very daring. And I know that you wrote your book, of my escape from Hollywood. And you faced a lot of challenges, even though, I mean, you turn out to be. But there was moments that you had your own challenges
Oh,
and you went through
absolutely.
it and you continue going it. And how did you handle that? And if somebody's listening right now and say that, oh, I'm too scared to do this. What if, what if, what if, what if? I mean, what would you say to that person?
I'd say take the baby steps, first of all. Don't just jump in fully because that might scare you too much. Like that might, like, I don't think that I would have been able to just jump into porn from taking sexy cosplay pictures like right away. Like it would have been a little much for me. Hold on. Got a little blurry there. Okay.
Perfect.
I don't think that, like, while it's fun to take a leap and in certain situations you should, I think just testing the waters and gaining your confidence in that is really important. Like if you want to do something in the public eye, like whether you want to be a model or an influencer or something, you need to find your audience too. Like I was told I can't do all these things, I can't be sexy and stuff, but I found my audience that has been with me all the way and has snowballed into this career and everything. You need to find people that support you and that are your fans and that will, take a journey with you. And you have to be your authentic self too. I think people really see that online, especially if you're trying to be in some sort of public persona. Um, I think just being yourself and finding out what you like to do. Don't like put on, like, don't like
Right.
say, well, at the moment it's really hot to be a food influencer. So I'm going to pretend to make all of these dishes and take pictures of them, but I don't really have a passion for it, but I'm just trying to get famous by it. Or that's just a bad example, but um, no, do what you're passionate about. And I think that really shows. And I think that is what creates success. So in any line of work that you want to do, or any line of life, if you want a certain
Mhm.
life you want to live, it's important to find out what that authentic, happy place inside of you is.
So what are some rituals that you have that when you get up in the morning, you start your day and you have a big scene coming up and you're going to work? And how do you start your day? And if you have a bad day or if you feel like you're not in a good mood, how do you shift your mindset to make that day a better day for yourself?
I do a lot of yoga, and I was actually trained as a yoga instructor. I'd never taught or anything, but I did it for my own person. So I take a lot of those principles and stuff, and I take a moment of like meditation or just self-reflection, quiet, and just try to gather myself and really like try to get that positive energy aligned in me. But honestly, and I also try to like just to have fun with things. Like if I'm in a bad mood, let's play a fun, happy song and just dance crazy and like just get it out, get it out. And I like to do that.
Oh, that's great. So you don't have the feeling bottled up. You just want to get it out.
Yes, I just want to get it out. And I feel like I do that with like working out too. I like to like when I'm like to box or cycle or whatever, and I'm just like, get it out. I want to get it all out. Like all of that like negativity energy. But and then you end up having fun with it too. And so yeah.
Well, that's a good advice. Well, before I let you go, how does inner power define your inside power and how important it is for people to recognize their own inner power?
Oh, everybody has their own inner power, and I think people don't recognize that sometimes. They think, "Oh, I'm weak. I'm a loser. I don't have." And when you speak into that, you become that. I mean, you just even in the way you see somebody who speaks poorly of themselves or doesn't have confidence and is very down on themselves, they even like start to like fold in on themselves physically. You just see it in their person. You see it in their expressions on their face and their and then like I think people need to really like speak positively to themselves, first of all, and like reinforce positive energy. I think that's really good advice because the negative talk, like I know, like I really try to get away from that in times of adversity because it's easy to say, oh, I messed up. I'm such a loser. I can't do, but then that just feeds into that and it snowballs downward. So I think if people really get in touch with their honestly who they are inside, and I think it's important for people to be honest with themselves about what they want and not be apologetic about it. I think people look, and me included, when I was younger, you look at and what other people's reactions might be to who you are or to what you want. And it really has to come from a place inside of you, because I can say, people would say, "Oh my God, you get so much negative reaction. Your family would hate you." I thought people would like absolutely hate me, and my friends and family, finding out, I'd be a porn star, like when I would think about doing something like that in the beginning. But honestly, when they see you happy and they see that you have fulfilled your purpose and you are just have finding success and happiness from it, they come along. Like my family is very supportive of me. And I like have so many friends who are like supportive and in my corner, and it shocks you, kind of like you think that you're going to get certain reactions because you're not playing the role that you always played, but actually your authenticity and your happiness just radiate from you. And I think that really just makes people happy for you, and unless they're a miserable person, and you don't want that person in your life anyway.
Right.
But generally I think you'll be surprised that it's not that, people are genuinely positive about people who find their happiness.
Oh, that was beautiful. No, it is beautiful because, like you said, people would do come back, and those are the people that you want. And if the people that don't support you and your career and your happiness, then they're not supposed to be in your life in the
Yeah, and it
to begin
reveals
with.
it. Yeah,
So,
it
yeah,
reveals
absolutely.
who's really in your life. Yeah.
Maitland, thank you so much for being
Thank
here and
you.
having such an amazing conversation with us. I'm sure our listener would learn a lot from you.
Oh, you're lovely.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for tuning into Inner Power Insights. I hope today's episode inspired you to embrace your journey of personal growth and empowerment. If you enjoyed our conversation, please rate and review us on your favorite platform, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can also follow us on social media at Coach Valery Molone for behind the scenes content and updates. Your support helps us continue to bring you inspiring stories and expert advice. Remember, your inner power is limitless. Until next time, keep growing and glowing.